Yo, here I am in the epicenter of the Matrix, Boulder, Colorado. Just thought I'd vlog today, document what's going on. Like every other NPC here in Boulder, I own a 4Runner, and broke down like a couple months ago. I was at the shop, and then it was too much money, so I decided I would try to fix it myself. And so I had changed the alternator. This is my first time doing anything like this. So I'd gotten a new one, changed it. It was all good, it was running, and then smoke started coming up from underneath. And so I think it was because the plug, which I'll show later, was corroded. So I've got a new plug, and I've never changed wires on anything. So I'm gonna go to Home Depot, get some wire crimpers and some wire plugs or wire butts, not butt plugs, and try to change this plug and plug it into the new alternator and get that going. So yeah, that's the plan for today. We'll see what happens. So here's the 4Runner. She's just chilling. She's itching at the bit to get going though, that's for sure. So you can see there, that's the new alternator I put in. But I put that in, I had hooked up the pulley, or the belt rather, but then it started smoking from underneath. And then I took it back out and I looked closer at the plug. Well, actually I looked at the plug before I plugged it in, and I was like, well, I don't know what's going on here. And the smoke was coming from like right at the bottom. So, and this is melted before, and it looks like there might have been a fire at some point before I owned it with these wires, and somebody's like done some rewiring. So I'll try changing this plug, hook back up the alternator, plug in the battery, and we'll see. All right, off to Home Depot. Except I gotta walk. But yeah, since I guess I got a long walk, I might as well just walk and talk a little bit. Seeing as this is my first YouTube video, might just kind of think through my own plan, talk about kind of what my plan for some of my content in the channel is. So I also start with the reason why I don't have a wire crimper, and that is because I just recently moved down to Colorado from Canada about 1.5 years ago, and so that usually would have been something I would have taken from my dad or gotten my dad to do for me, but I have like no tools or anything, so anytime I run into anything, I'm like having to get new tools and whatnot, or get some YouTube videos, figure out how to do something. Don't really have that wisdom in my ear, so that's been really cool. Yeah, so a lot of opportunity for growth, I guess, and just in living on my own and living in the US. But yeah, so just kind of want to document and share my experience. Yeah, so I guess the reason that I live down here in the US is I got a software engineering job at Google. So there's an office here in Boulder, and so that's what I do full time. So my plan for the channel is just kind of, you know, day in the life of software engineer at Google Boulder, doing random stuff, try to, you know, give some little insight into what my day-to-day looks like. I'm also training for a high rocks race, so that's probably gonna be a lot of the content, is a little bit of fitness stuff and kind of maybe whatever, you know, spiritual guidance or wisdom that I've come across that has helped me to kind of stay balanced in this epicenter of the Matrix. while I was editing the video, I ended up deleting a bunch of clips yesterday. So I had filmed me doing most of the repairs, and it went actually pretty well. I did get a wire stripper from Home Depot and got these, and I was able to resolder, I guess, whatever you call it, and reattach the wire. So I'm going to show a little bit of videos of that. One thing that is left is I still want to replace this cooling fan bracket. When it goes up to higher RPMs, it's making a little bit of like a higher pitch squeak noise. But it's good enough right now that I'm just able to ride around. So pretty happy with that. A little bit sad that I lost my clips, but is what it is. So you can see back here, these are the wires that are reattached. So I was able to get those, plug them back into the alternator, get the pulley belt back on the alternator, and tighten the tensioner. And yeah, once I reconnected the battery and everything, and so did the engine, it was good. Like I said, the only thing is the cooling fan bracket, which was the original issue that it was having. And so it's mostly actually quieted down a lot, but if I really kind of get it revving, then it starts to squeak. So at some point I want to get to fixing that, but just for getting around, getting places, and not having to ride Lime scooters anymore, this will do. The 4Runner running, took her out for a little bit of a joyride earlier. Planned to take it easy, but I ended up kind of just ripping around, so that felt really good. Yeah, I'm so sick of the Lime scooters. I love riding those around, even though I feel like a loser when I do it. I'm glad to be back in the 4Runner. So definitely happy about that. I'm going to head to the Google office now and do a little bit of groundwork, some stretching, focus on some recovery. I've been training for high rocks for the last couple months pretty hard, and kind of have been lacking on that aspect of things. So just going to go do some groundwork, decompress, realign the spine. I'll talk a little bit more about GOTA later when I get there, but yeah. So just arrived here at the Google office. I'm gonna pop in and do some GOTA groundwork. This is usually something that I like to do outside, but it was snowy earlier and it was super cloudy, but it totally cleared up, and I'd already packed my bags and just got the 4Runner working, so I figured might as well drive and get some footage. So I'm gonna pop in and do some recovery and get some work in. So this is Google Pearl. This is where I work. I'm actually in this building up on the 3rd floor. The gym is just over there. Yeah, it's a pretty cool office. I really like it. Yeah, this is the gym. It looks to be empty right now. On the weekends, it's usually pretty dead, but I'm just gonna pop over there and do a little bit of groundwork. Cool, yeah, so that was me doing my GOTA groundwork. Did a little bit of foam rolling, and then just did some child rocker, some hip stretches. I like to do those just to realign the hips. If you haven't heard of GOTA before, basically what it is primal movement. And so it's built around the philosophy of moving as forward locomotive movers, and that we learned to move as babies on the ground and kind of worked from the ground up from there. So really just focuses on strengthening your back chain of your body and lengthening that, so that you're moving forward with proper movement patterns. That really helps with longevity and athleticism. And so I really like to do that as recovery, just kind of reset and kind of realign my spine and get back to my movement patterns, just because obviously I work here at Google and it's a desk job and I'm sitting 8 hours a day, and so I end up losing a lot of my innate natural movement patterns. So I find it's really important to do it, and I don't do it as consistently as I should, but when I am doing it consistently, that's when I'm my most athletic and when I feel my best. So that was a little bit of that. I'll probably do some more videos on what GOTA is and what some different exercises are and how you can get into it, but I'm going to leave it at that for today. But yeah, so this is my first video. Probably going to be similar to this kind of structure for my other videos, just some lifestyle stuff. The channel name obviously is Oasis Lifestyle. The reason it's called Oasis is because I built an app called Oasis, and so that was a wellness journal and diary application for self-reflection and improvement that I had built over the last 2 years to kind of complement my lifestyle and help me and build a system around, you know, my approach to productivity, health, and wellness, and trying to integrate those all together. And the reason I like the name Oasis, I like biblical references and like to look at that from like a religious perspective. Even when you look at the story of Abraham, who's a descendant from Adam, and was kicked out of the garden and put into a desert. And really the story of the lineage is to create your own garden and find that. And so I really like to think about that as being an oasis in a desert. And so I think that is really the goal of me and everyone, is to create your own garden and create your own oasis and, inherit your kingdom or create your kingdom. So that's what this channel is going to be. It's kind of just going to be my lifestyle, me doing random stuff, and try not to be too much of an idiot, even though I'll be a little bit of a goof. But yeah, so thanks for watching.